Hi, I'm Dan, and welcome back to the Rock Nerd Radio Show. Today we are taking a look at the aerial bot who is currently too damn big to fit on the screen. It is the new Commander Class Superion.
Come geek out with us on the Rock Nerd Radio Show.
Hi, welcome back to the channel. Like I said in the opening, we're taking a look at the new Commander Class, Age of the Primes Superion. And whoa, hey, future editing Dan here. I'm literally calling Silverbolt Superion for like the first half of this review. I don't know why, slip of the tongue. He does form a major part of Superion, but completely messed that up. So when I say Superion instead of Silverbolt like 6 times in this review, don't come at me. Just, it was an honest mistake, and I'm not going back to fix it now. This thing currently is massive because of this entire chunk. This is a giant back piece to his plane that is supposed to, it's there for like the Superion exoskeleton. I'm going to take it off. Real easy to take off. Just pop the wings and then pull it. And you can see it is really held on by these 2 red clips, which do sink in like this. So this whole piece, we're just going to kind of forget about for a little bit. We will come back to it, but we are going to focus on Superion proper right now. And just, there we go. We put his tail back up. This is Superion. He is the Commander class figure. This is all of the figure itself. This plane mode is the actual figure. Like I said, that other stuff is like the battle platform and, what you can use to get the Superion combiner going. He looks cool. He looks like what you would expect Silverbolt to look like. He has nice airplane wings with Autobot insignias on it. He has these nice painted, detailed windows going along the side of him. The front also has some nice airplane windows. And again, on the other side. Now, you can already see it, but yeah, hey, look, there's a robot underneath his body. That's what happens with Superion, right? We end up just kind of doing that. His pistol is also on here. You can take the pistol off like this. I'm going to plop it over here on the side. And just to say, there is technically landing gear in the Superion head here. There is a piece of landing gear that you can kind of just flip up, and look, now he has some landing gear, so he can land. There we go. I'm sorry, there's also landing gear in the back here too. This skirt piece on his hips, you can crank forward, and now he has 3 wheels that he can balance on. There we go. I've always said it. I'm going to say it again. The vehicle mode of Transformers, not always really the mode I'm preferring. I prefer not what I really display people in. So we are going to transform him. And to start transforming him, I just lift up the wings. And the little wing tips, they fold in to the wings right here. So just like this, we're going to fold them in. There we go. Fold it in. Now, this section here is actually going to become the leg. And to do that, you just kind of have to pull them. And you can see these little nubs here. They are for the arms. So to transform the legs, though, bring in these pieces down, rotating them forward. This is the foot. You're going to rotate that down or flip it down. It's on a hinge. And then you do have to pop out the heel piece. So can be a little tricky. At least it has been for me. But once you get it, you just open it up. And there is the foot. And these are on some ankle pivots. So you can pivot them out if you want him to stand, with kind of a more of a A-line kind of, stance as opposed to just straight-legged. But yeah, looks pretty good. To get the arms, this is where things get a little weird. So to get at the arms, this whole piece comes down. And hey, look, there's Silverbolt's head. You do bring the head up. You're going to take the Superion head. So you're also going to take the jet, nose cone of the jet here. And it cracks like that. And then you can bring it down. You can open this piece up if you want to, the tail fin. And that's just going to kind of hang there. So it is definitely hanging off the back of him. I'm going to raise the camera just a little bit so that you can see everything in frame here. There we go. And then the Superion head, you're actually going to take and lower. I'm sorry. First, you need to open up these arms. You just snap them out. So see how like that whole chest piece moved with it? You snap this out. We'll come back to that. You take the Superion head, you aim it down, and then see how the horns for Superion's head, they line up with these holes right there by my thumb. So you do have to line them up while also lining up these chest pieces. So everything will fit together nicely if you line it up. There we go. And for the most part, we're almost done. Just looking at the arms now, you're going to want to flip them around, flip out the hands. And then once again, this arm was already kind of flipped, but you do need to flip out the hands. Here is Silverbolt in his robot mode. And you can do just about anything you want with the wings. You can put them straight back if you want to kind of eliminate that part of his silhouette. You can kind of keep them in the back almost like a cape. That's what I tend to do. I kind of like to show them. So here he is. Here's the robot mode. And now we're going to get in deep with this robot mode. First and foremost, bringing him close, there is that Silverbolt head sculpt. Nice piercing blue eyes. Very humanoid face. One thing I always liked about the aerial boss is that they do have some very cool looking faces in terms of Transformers. Silverbolt has a really cool one. Almost looks like he's wearing a hat as well. I've always liked that. Autobot insignia there on his chest. We have the red along the chest as well as the gray in the middle. Some cool details there. Like I mentioned, here's the landing gear from before. And you can move the legs without really, having to worry about the landing gear. It doesn't, click. It does click, but it doesn't, stop the leg from moving. So it just looks like part of his, overall design. Looking at his arms real quick, I like that we have the tiny little winglets, which he is known to have in that design. I really like how that carried over. I like the black behind it, as well as the, moving down the rest of the arm just looks good. No rotation at the hand. We'll talk about that. But then at the legs, carrying on that nice kind of tan, down to the gray, black feet, extra red details here. Love the extra details along here. Just, all the little panel lines and stuff on this figure really do make him look kind of cool. And even on the inside of the wings, we have some nice panel lines and details. Things that they could have skipped. So I am glad that they are there. Spinning him around. Yeah, he's wearing a jet on his back. And I do believe, I forgot to transform some of this. I want to say this piece pops up and you can tuck in the nose cone. So you can hide that if you want. I actually think for robot mode, I like it out. So I'm going to flip this back out. Just like that. I think I do like it better. So there we go. In terms of his articulation, at the head's on a little bit of a ball joint. So we get nodding up and down, and we get twisting left and right. And also, look, hey, wiggle waggle to the left and right there. So you can kind of look at things crooked if he wants. At the waist, nothing. You can see I'm trying to twist him. There is nothing there. He does, make a big part of that combiner. So I can understand that some compromises were made. The wings we've already kind of talked about, but they can move out of the way, and they do kind of click. Like, you hear that? So, you're going to be able to stop them at a certain position, which I think is nice. Arms will fully rotate once you get the wings out of the way. They will go up, and, of course, they will rotate. We do have an elbow going a little bit past 90 degrees. And like I said, while the hands don't spin, you can get some up and down from them. It goes into the arm, but that part is there. It's the same on both arms. At the legs, you already kind of saw, but the skirt piece will move out of the way so you can get fully forward extending there. And a little bit back, not a lot, but a little bit. And legs will go way out. Nice big splits on him. We do have full thigh rotation. And then at the knee, let's bring this up here. So it will go down, but also, I want to say, because of the transformation, the combined part, you do have a double knee joint. So you can get some really deep knee bends. It's just things start clunking into each other when you try to do that. But it is there. So you can get a double knee on him, which, makes for some cool possible poses you can put him in. Moving down to the foot, nothing else really until you get to the foot, which does have the ankle pivot. I mean, you can angle the foot forward, like for like a running pose if you wanted. That option is there, but it is not necessity. And it doesn't look the greatest, but ankle looks cool. It does, of course, kind of make for like that inhuman foot that looks like it's coming off his body. But it's there. It's something you can do if you want. Now, let's talk about the first accessory here, and we are going to talk about his smaller weapon. So, yes, the cannon that you saw before, you can make into one giant cannon, but if you're standing Silverbolt alone, this is meant to be his weapon. It is a small little kind of pistol. It has some cool kind of wing detail on it, And of course, it just goes into his hand so he can hold it. He is the leader of the aerial bots, and as the leader of the aerial bots, we should probably bring some of his teammates out. So let's bring in the first 2 aerial bots that we've gotten in Age of the Primes right now. He is obviously a little bigger, and I don't mind that. I'm kind of okay with the commanders being a little larger than the rest of the team. That's how it was in the original figures. It makes sense, you know. Also, he's going to be combining into Superion, so yeah, he's going to be a little bigger, and that I am okay with. So I think he really does look good like this, but we're probably not here to just stare at Silverbolt. We probably want to see that whole battle platform and how it turns into Superion. So I'm going to clear the table. We're going to take a look at that. So we are going to bring in the back half, the thing that will form the Superion exoskeleton. But first, there is a battle station mode. And in order to get there, you take this gun off first. Now, I will say the gun is supposed to actually be stored like this. I like having the cannon out. That's me. So I am going to keep it extended like this. But here is what will eventually become Superion's cannon. Just going to throw it off to the side here. In terms of the battle station mode, in order to get there, you're going to take this piece and lift it up. Take this piece, lift, and then this whole piece comes off. And then you just kind of put everything back down together. And then these leg pieces, you don't want to turn this part yet, but you are going to rotate these all the way around. So, you know, just so that it's like the mirror of what you just had. All right, cool. So we have this thing that looks like this now. You take this piece, you're going to stand it up this ways. There are notches here at the bottom, and the leg pieces will go into them. I have to align things correctly. Just like this, they tab on. You can see how those notches are attaching to those tabs. And here is the quote-unquote battle station. You can always take the gun and you can tab it on. There are 2 notches here on the gun, 2 tabs right up here, so you can tab it on. Here is the battle station, and it's a choice. You know, I get that they did it with Motormaster, and it looked pretty good when they did it with Motormaster. So I guess they are continuing that with Silverbolt here. It just kind of looks like he's standing behind a tiny wall with a gun on it. It's there. It exists. I think the best thing to do would be to kind of see how we get to that Superion, character now. So to go into the Superion mode, we are starting back with Silverbolt, and it needs to be done. So I am going to do what I didn't do before. I am going to tuck in that plain nose cone, and then I am going to open the chest back up. I'm going to take out the Superion head, which my fingers can... I think I've done it enough times where I've loosened the joint, but I definitely have trouble grabbing it. Silverbolt head rotates 180, goes back. We are also going to bring back the arms to how they were when he was in jet mode. And actually, we're returning most of this to how he appeared when he was in jet mode. So we're just going to put all this back. Before you connect everything, bring the Superion head down. It is going to tab into there's a little spot for the neck to tab into. And there we go. Mine didn't want to tab in, but I do like this look because it kind of looks like a kid who's leaving his sleeves in his jacket. Like a winter day or something, like they're sticking out funny. It looks funny to me. We're not done yet though. We are going to actually bring the feet back to where they were as well. So we have to de-transform the feet. Remember that double knee joint? That is for transformation. So you're going to bring the knee up on that double knee, and there we go. Shift it back into place, holding it in there tightly. Same thing on the other knee. Use that double knee joint to pop the joint up and in. Once you get it all lined up, it should be... There we go. So that is that's the beginnings of Superion. We are going to go back to the weapons platform to kind of see what comes next. So with the battle station back in place, in order to get this to the Superion part or mode, you're going to disconnect this piece first. We're going to look at this first. So what you're going to do is you're going to just kind of bring this up And this piece, just kind of like this. This is, of course, going to be the front of Superion, so you're going to want to bring that leg piece down, down and around, and then these pieces rotate like this so that you have this combiner port kind of in the back. This will be the main body of Superion. Just going to kind of put it over here for now. Actually, I'll move it completely out of the way for now. Then we have what will be the arms and legs. So you're going to pop off the gun. And then we have two panels here, 1 and 2. These are going to be the arms, but we'll get back to them. These are the legs. You pull them apart like that. For both of them, this piece connects down. You're going to hear a snap. There we go. You bring up the combiner peg, and this is interesting because there's a little lock here. So you press that lock in, and now this piece isn't going to fall back on itself. So it does lock into place, and you bring down the toe, and here is one leg. Other leg, same thing. You get your little snap, combiner peg up, lock in place, toe down, bam. There we go. Here are his left and right legs. Now for the arms, this piece that you had from before, you're going to fold the hand out. Then you have to fold the arm on this double hinge here. And then there's another hinge here that you, let me move this real quick. So you kind of fold it up like, help if it's on camera, like that. So now you have a nice straightened out arm. And you can move the wing up if you want to. That's your choice. Just to show you once again, maybe on camera this time. Hand out, arm, double hinge there, double hinge here. There we go. There is your arm. Now bringing back in that body piece, this is going to be where I raise the camera a little bit. All right, you do have these pieces here. Everything just slides together like that. There's one. Other one slides in. There's two. We now have Superion's legs ready to roll, standing pretty tall. And the arms we'll get to when we get the rest of Superion in, which means it's time to bring the piece that was once Silverbolt back into the frame. All right, so I've moved Superion to the side, or the torso to the side, the legs and abdomen, whatever. Here's Superion. One thing I didn't do before from Silverbolt, the tail piece does need to swing up when you were doing this. So it does pop up just like this, as you can see. That just needs to be up like this. So there are two little nubs here on the bottom of Silverbolt, and there are two little notches here. So you're going to sink this down onto it. It will fit kind of tight, but then as an extra layer of connection, this little panel here does connect into the back of Silverbolt. You may just have to give it a little bit of a press, but it does fit. And then you can put the tail piece back down to hold it in even more. All right, so I just had to, you kind of pop the piece up. It pops up and then connects in here. Of course, now that I did it, I can't do it again. There we go. So that is there. And then you just kind of bring this down. You can keep the wings open. You can keep the wings back, whatever you want to do. I'm just going to leave them kind of at the halfway point for now. Should probably raise the camera a little more so you can see what's going on here with Superion. There we go. This piece is going to just tab in pretty securely. There are some tabs all around, as you can probably see, and they just fit nice and snug, and it's a good fit. It completes his chest. Then with the arms, I have my first arm. It just connects onto the foot connector, or the foot piece. So they snap down like this, and they snap down like this. And now you have a very skeletal looking Superion, because, you know, he is missing his arm bods, he's missing the leg bods. I think we're going to do something about that, though. I do want to bring in the cannon real quick, because here is the cannon. You can connect the whole thing together with the little pistol that Silverbolt came with. And then there is a peg right here that you can flip out, and I have the hardest time getting this peg out. But once you get it out, you can have him hold the weapon. You can also peg it up here on his arm, because I believe in the animation, Silverbolt's cannon was kind of like Megatron's, where it was on his arm. So you can have it on his arm like this, which I think looks really, really cool. And even though Superion isn't fully formed yet, we are going to connect some of the aerial bots, the two that I've already shown you, so you can kind of start to get the idea of what things are going to look like. So rather than do it on camera, because I had a little bit of a time getting everybody in place, I just put the arm bots, or the limb bots, on Superion on the frame here. So you can see we do have our arm bot. It does split like the Minosaur bots, so there is this tab here that it will split from. And yeah, it just, it pegs in pretty securely. None of these pieces are popping off. I don't know for sure if it's supposed to be the wings are out on this guy, on Slingshot, or if, you can fold them in. I'll fold them in, and quite honestly, because he's got his guns here, you could fold the guns down, and then Superion has some built-in arm blasters. And I apologize, my cat just decided to jump at my light and knock it over. So I'm going to fix that in just a second. But yeah, so here is Superion, just, kind of looking ready to roll. He looks pretty good. Down at the leg, let me get down to the leg real quick to show you what the leg looks like. The leg just plugs in here, and it does kind of protrude. You can see it's definitely sticking out the back. It's not my favorite design. I know, I guess animation accuracy had the planes in the back of the leg. I honestly think it would have been cooler if we were able to get the planes in the front, or maybe even to stick through more, because this kind of does look just a little hollow. There's this panel here that will close when you put the leg bots there. I don't know, this doesn't look that great to me. Granted, he'll be standing on my display, and because he's so tall, you'll see the top of him, but there will be robots in front of him, and you can see my cat again. So you're really not going to see his legs that much, so it's probably not the biggest deal. So in terms of Silverbolt and, like 3/5 of Superion being completed, I am pretty happy. I think the Silverbolt figure itself is pretty cool. If you're not looking to combine it all, you have a nice Silverbolt. If you are looking to combine it, it looks great. If you're looking to have the aerial bots, separate, I think it all looks good. It is a very nice update to some stuff, and to some Superions that we've had. And when we have Superion in full, I think I'll do a which is better comparison, so you can see how the Combiner Wars one stacks up against the Age of the Primes version. But until then, let me know what you think of Silverbolt and of Superion down in the comments below. And remember, you can always check out the Rock Nerd Radio Show podcast on your preferred podcast platform. It is a weekly podcast hosted by myself and my good friend Vinny, where we discuss all different aspects of pop culture. There's bound to be something on there that you're going to enjoy. So until next time, I've been Dan, that's been most of Superion, you've been pretty awesome, and I'll see you around.